It takes just 3 plugs to anchor the telematics module inside a recent Ford. A pair of antenna leads plus 1 combined power and data connector, hidden below the cargo floor of an Escape, or tucked behind the rear bench of an F-150. According to the factory, that box exists for your protection. Automatic crash alerts, recovery if it's stolen, a call for roadside help. What they leave out is that it's also a permanent, always-live cellular tether, quietly noting your routes, your speeds, and the force of every brake you stamp, then shipping the lot back to headquarters every single day you drive. Which is why a swelling cohort of Ford, Toyota, and Ram owners stopped buying the safety story. Flashlight in one hand, socket set in the other, they went hunting beneath the dashboard, dug out the box, and disconnected it. What they discovered and what it cost them is the whole of this video. First though, before the countdown of 7 discoveries, it helps to be clear on what this thing actually is, since the manufacturer would rather it stay invisible to you. Forget the idea that it's an add-on or the touchscreen or the link to your phone. It's its own dedicated chunk of electronics, paperback-sized, fitted with a cellular antenna and a SIM card of its own hardwired in during assembly. To owners, it's the tracker. To engineers, it goes by telematics control unit, or data communication module, or telematics box, whichever badge is on the hood. Different name, identical task, it listens in on the vehicle's internal network and forwards whatever it picks up to the maker across a cellular channel you'll never see and never greenlit. The countdown runs from 7 down, and the closing entry is the thing a dealer will never admit to your face. Number 7. This module was never a choice you made. The day you bought the truck, your signature went on the powertrain, the trim level, the towing package. It never went on the telematics module, for the simple reason that nobody offered it as something you could decline. From about 2019 onward, nearly every Ford, Toyota, and Ram leaving the factory has come fitted with one, baked in just like the steering column. Toyota labels its unit the data communication module, Ford the telematics control unit, and Ram, a Stellantis brand, the telematics box module. Different names, identical job. What unnerves owners most is the timing. The cellular link goes live the moment the vehicle clears the lot. No app to install first, no free trial to trigger it. A 2023 Consumer Reports investigation by journalist Derek Kravitz documented BMW, Ford, Toyota, and Honda all siphoning driving data out of their connected cars. The hardware is sitting there already, powered already, listening already, marketed to you as a feature, fitted as a requirement. Number 6. Flipping it off in the settings barely changes a thing. The first nervous instinct is a reasonable one. Dig into the vehicle menu, open the connected services page, and turn data sharing off. Cancel the Toyota subscription, drop Ford Pass services, kill the UK Connect package, and assume you're done. You're not. Here's where mild worry curdles into something worse. A Toyota RAV4 owner documented that. Having opted out of every connected service and shut down both the safety line and the assistance features, his car went right on transmitting to Toyota over the built-in cellular link. All that Toggle managed was the convenience side. The radio inside the module stayed untouched. Over on a Ford Lightning, a different owner physically removed the cellular modem and watched the truck keep broadcasting its position by satellite anyway. That gap is deliberate, not a slip-up. When the Mozilla Foundation ran 25 car brands through its Privacy Not Included report, just 2 of the 25 gave drivers an actual route to erase their data. And both of those are European market only, sold where privacy law actually bites. The off switch you were handed exists to reassure you. It was never meant to silence the module. Number 5. We've already seen the price tag on this data, because one company got cashing in. The skeptic's question lingered for years. Fine, the car phone's home, but who's in the market for that and to what end? The New York Times answered it in March 2024, in a Kashmir Hill investigation that cut deeper than the doubters expected. General Motors, it turned out, had been scooping up granular driving behavior from millions of cars. Location, sure, but also hard-braking, jackrabbit acceleration, midnight runs, every mile clocked over the posted limit. With some drivers, the sampling hit once every 3 seconds. GM then fed the haul to a pair of data brokers, Verisk and LexisNexis, who repackaged it as reports and sold them to insurers. A Chevrolet Bolt owner named Ken Dahl pulled his own file from LexisNexis and got back 258 pages, logging 640 individual trips over half a year. The only reason he checked was a 21% jolt to his premium. A second driver got rejected by one carrier after another, until an agent finally let slip that his car had been informing on him. California closed its probe this past May, and GM agreed to a $12.75 million payout, the heaviest fine the state's privacy law has ever produced. Even earlier, in the opening weeks of 2025, the Federal Trade Commission had moved to bar GM from feeding that data to reporting agencies for 5 years, and GM had company. A 2024 Senate inquiry under Senator Ron Wyden established that Hyundai had passed driving data drawn from 1.7 million cars over to Verisk, collecting a hair over $1 million in return, which pencils out to about 61 cents a car. 61 cents, that was the market price for a year of tracking where 1.7 million households drove. GM didn't get punished for building the machine. It got punished for being caught running it. Number 4. Ford drivers were the first to start tearing it out. Among the three, Ford's module is the simplest to reach, and the DIY crowd sniffed it out a long time ago. In a 2019 Escape, it lives beneath the cargo floor under the spare tire cover, while on the F-150 and Super Duty it's bolted to the cab's driver's side rear wall, back of the seat. Most owners need nothing more than a flashlight, a plastic trim tool, and roughly 20 minutes to expose it, a little box wearing 3 plugs, 2 for the antennas and 1 handling power and data. A how-to that's made the rounds, written up on a truck enthusiast forum by one Ford owner sick of his Escape, phoning its fuel level and odometer home, lays out every step, find the module, pop the 3 connectors, and then, in his own bone-dry phrasing, optionally toss the module into the dealership parking lot as you leave. The cost is real, and the level-headed owners admit it. Yank the module and automatic crash notification goes with it. So does the app that fires up the truck from your kitchen. So does stolen vehicle tracking. Plenty of owners find that trade-off intolerable. Others figure a truck that can't dial for help also can't snitch on the driver. Ford never sealed the module off, and a lot of people treated that as a green light. If any of this is landing for you, hitting subscribe is the easiest way to keep these investigations coming. Number 3. Toyota tucked it away further, so owners built their own workaround. Toyota raised the difficulty. On a Highlander or a Tacoma, that data communication module isn't sitting under any trunk panel. It's mounted behind the passenger side dash, right up against the main computer, and getting at it can mean tearing out the glove box, the vents, and a long ribbon of trim. There's a sting in the tail too. Rip the Toyota module out the brute force way, and your front right speaker and hands-free mic die with it, because Toyota wired both straight through the box. So owners engineered something the factory never anticipated. They made a part, a cheap little cluster of connectors, maybe $20, that they call a bypass harness. Out comes the factory module, in goes the harness on the now empty connectors, and it calmly assures the car the module's still aboard, only permanently beyond cellular reach. Speaker live, mic live, and the car simply stops calling home. That modest harness carries more weight than it appears to. Toyota funnels its connected data through an outfit named Connected Analytic Services. Linked to Toyota's own insurance operation, And once you've logged roughly 60 days behind the wheel, that firm can spin what it's collected into a personalized insurance quote. The harness shuts that exchange down before it ever starts. Toyota made the module a chore to extract. Owners just made it trivial to silence. Number 2. Ram made it the toughest of the lot, and it still fell short. Where Toyota merely made removal a hassle, Ram, sitting under Stellantis, turned it into an honest-to-goodness engineering puzzle. On a current Ram, you can't just yank the telematics box module and stroll away. The truck clocks it, error messages cascade across the dash, and Ram walls off the diagnostic port with a security gateway, a gatekeeper unit that shuts out the deeper access an owner would have to reach. So, Ram's community pushed harder than anybody. Step 1. Fit a security gateway bypass harness, a little connector that reopens the diagnostic port. Step 2. Physically pull the telematics box. Step 3. With a laptop running software named Alpha OBD. Dive into the body control settings of the truck and rewrite the parameters one at a time, informing the truck that its box is gone, its cellular radio is gone, its GPS is gone, until it quits searching for hardware that's no longer aboard. An owner who wrapped the whole thing on a 2022 Ram boiled the outcome down to 3 words: the truck was offline. On another forum, a Ram owner spelled out what he was chasing. He wanted his truck reverted to a 1990s sedan, the kind of machine that did its work and breathed a word to nobody. Reaching that on a $70,000 pickup meant defeating a security gate, extracting a module, and reflashing the computer with aftermarket tools. Ram didn't leave tracking optional. It turned privacy into a project. Number 1. The folks who sold you the truck won't lift a finger to help with any of this, and that refusal is the most honest answer in the whole story. The same wall greets owners of all 3 brands. Dial the manufacturer's support line, ask in the plainest terms how to permanently kill the data module, and watch what happens. A Toyota Highlander owner tried precisely that. The brand engagement center bounced him to the dealer. Not unable to help, unwilling, and that refusal lands right on the question this countdown keeps orbiting. If the box truly existed for your safety and convenience alone, the company would cheerfully point you at the off switch. They'll walk you straight to the off switch on the seatbelt chime. They'll do the same for the lane keep nudge. The data module, though, stands alone as the one component in your vehicle that its own makers refuse to help you switch off. That's the giveaway. Anything built to serve the customer is something the customer is permitted to decline. Anything the customer isn't permitted to decline isn't really serving them, it's an arrangement. And the customer isn't the one it serves. The people pulling these modules aren't paranoids and they aren't tech haters. They simply concluded that a thing sitting in their own driveway refusing to take their orders was never truly theirs. Pull back from the harnesses and part numbers, and the same arc plays out 3 ways across Ford, Toyota, and Ram. A century ago, to buy a car was to own an object, parked in your driveway, obedient to you, its business strictly your own. The telematics module dissolved that without fanfare, recasting the car as something nearer to a smartphone, a gadget that serves you and surveils you in the same breath, answerable to a corporation whose priorities diverge from yours. General Motors put the open market value of that surveillance on full display, a fairly trivial heap of data revenue, a $12.75 million penalty, and a 21% spike on one regular guy's insurance. The owners in this story aren't really winners. Crash notification? Gone. Convenience? Gone. Weekends disappear under the dash with a flashlight. Yet they've cottoned on to something the broader market still hasn't. Anyone old enough to recall a car bought with a paper title and an actual metal key remembers a plain bargain: the car belonged to you, held no view on your driving, and carried no phone. That bargain didn't fall to a vote, a headline, or a lone villain. It dissolved quietly, one model year after the next, inside a component most owners will never set eyes on. Buying a new car no longer just means acquiring it. Increasingly, it means acquiring something that monitors you as you drive, and the only people who've genuinely opted out are those prepared to reach for a tool. Which leaves one question, and it's yours alone to answer at home. Does automatic crash help justify a standing record of every trip you make? No answer fits everyone. There's only the one you'd have picked if the manufacturer had thought to ask, and it didn't. Drop your verdict in the comments and tag the year and model you drive while you're at it, since other readers will want to know if yours is one of the easy pulls or one of the fortresses. If this dug up something the dealership never would, a like nudges it toward the next owner still convinced that Box is only there for the maps. And a subscribe keeps you riding with us into the next one.